Iceland is famous for its dramatic waterfalls, volcanoes and glaciers. But when we spent 2 days in this little village near Akureyri, I wondered, what if I tried to find beauty in the ordinary instead?
I'm currently in Iceland. I thought, why not explore this little village we're in currently on my own? Take my Fuji with me, take some photos, just enjoy this little place a little bit.
Up until this point, we hadn't stayed anywhere that felt like a real town. So suddenly being surrounded by houses, streets and daily life was exciting in its own way. I wanted to see if I could capture the small everyday details that make this place feel alive. My first stop was this little harbor, which almost feels like the heart of a village, since it's actually quite small. Looking the other way, I noticed the street lamp and wanted to capture it against the backdrop of the mountains. I love the subtle mix of street and landscape details, and the mountains just looked stunning. Then I came across this boat sitting right in the middle of a patch of grass. I just loved how it stood out against the background because of its red details. And honestly, a boat on solid ground just looks kind of cool. Next, I wandered to the actual harbor with its buildings. It felt like a shift to focus more on street photography rather than landscapes, especially in a country so full of breathtaking scenery. That's what I really like this shot. It's different, but it still carries that calm atmosphere the place had. A bit further along, I noticed an open gate leading to the courtyards of the complex. What caught my attention was a mess inside the yard, contrasting with the straight, clean lines of the fence and the building. I really like how this came together. And I saw this house tucked at the back of the fjord, facing the ocean, framed by the mountains.
This house and mountain in the back meets the sun. Interesting still and fun.
And this is the result. It looks just like I imagined it, a peaceful little house surrounded by water and fields. Unfortunately, the path I was originally following was blocked off. It was a private property and I didn't want to risk anything. So I turned around and looked for another route. That's when I came across this big black building surrounded again by fields and misty mountains. I just really love the contrast, so I took the shot. And later I found out that this place is actually a beer spa. Quite a famous one in the region. On the way, I spotted this little bench made from sticks of wood. Looking at it, I thought maybe it's even made from driftwood that washed ashore and was turned into this cute little bench facing the ocean. The same ocean it might have come from. I don't know if that's true, but it's a nice thought, don't you think? I really like this photo as well, especially because of that little story I just made up. This one's more about nature again. After the beer spa, there wasn't much else around, so I quickly captured these trees and the landscape before turning back. Since I couldn't go much further, I headed back toward our apartment, keeping an eye out for anything interesting. That's when I noticed these street signs marking a curve. Normally I wouldn't stop for something like this, at least not in Germany. But here the bright yellow stood out so strongly against the snowy mountains and the rough sea. And I really love how this shot turned out. Just a few steps further I spotted a street name sign and had to frame it with the mountains behind it. It somehow gives the place more character, and I especially like the bench in the background. It's almost like the road leads you straight to heaven, right there at Aggie's Gata. By then, I almost finished the walk because I was freezing since it was quite cold and windy on this day. So I headed down to the beach for another look at the ocean and mountains. I spotted a boat coming in and captured it from behind. It felt like the perfect detail to complete the series. Then I took another shot of the mountains themselves. I just couldn't resist. The snowy peaks and the waves crashing into the rocks were too good. Lastly, I photographed this view of the village itself. I love how the image divides into 3 layers: the sky, the grass and the stones in the foreground. And then the White House in the middle tying it all together. Black spot in the middle is my backpack and camera, which I didn't move out of the frame. But honestly, it doesn't bother me. It almost adds to the memory. So that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed coming along and exploring this little place at the Atlantic coast. Even though I originally planned to go further into the surroundings and got stopped by a private property, I really enjoyed wandering around there and captured what I could. And I actually really love the results, even though they aren't the classic Iceland photos. But maybe that's why I like them so much. They show Iceland from a slightly different perspective, and that feels quite good. Anyway, I really hope you liked this walk too, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And I will see you in the next one.